Guys, this is one of those videos, but for a change, it's actually a good one. So, welcome everybody to WFSO Reaction, Bucks Edition. I was watching this video by Barrett last night, and I was like, okay, there's gonna be another one that you're not gonna like. But actually, this video he has done made a lot of sense and actually point on. So, it's not that much of the Kuzma hate, and although, he brings up Chris Middleton a few times, but actually, he actually, making some sense. No, actually, he made a lot of sense, and I think he's finally, getting it. So, hopefully, his followers will, get it as well. Besides, crying like half the season about, Chris Middleton going and all that stuff. So, like I said, this actually was a good video. And all the stuff he's saying on here, yeah, it's correct. So, you can watch the full video and, you can get to watch, and listen to what he said. And as y'all see that list right there with, saying, all the, people, that either they should keep or should play or wherever the case may be with this situation. So, of course, he says like bring back Trent or get Kuzma if it means we can sign all above. Yeah, if you can, but yeah, but I know some people are heavy like with Jonathan Kuminga, especially he's not happy with in Golden State, but I don't see how that how is they're gonna give Kaminga without giving up some picks. So he did have a few things, although I'm thinking maybe one of them would not be right, but the other ones may be possible. So I'll just let y'all hear what he says.
All right, so this is how I would run the Bucks if I were able to step in as John Horst today. And what do? If I'm John Horst today, first thing I do is I call the Mavericks and I just test the waters and say, Cooper Flag for Giannis, what do you think about that? I'm not saying I make the move, but I test the waters if I'm the GM. I test the waters to say, like, would you be willing to give me Mobley and picks for Giannis? Again, I'm not saying I pull the trigger on that, but I just want to have that in mind as I said, make my moves. And then after that, basically, unless there's like something that you wouldn't expect to be out there, like I said, like Giannis for Cooper Flag, unless it's something like that, I'm saying, Giannis, listen here. If you go somewhere else, you see the track record of guys leaving their teams as of late, superstars, it doesn't turn out so pretty. So
True.
Here, next year, we're probably not going to win a championship. But you know what? That's the case pretty much any year, pretty much no matter what team you're on. But we're going to rebuild this team, and we're going to make it a team somewhat similar to the Thunder, and we might even be able to make this a team that maybe could be a lot better next year than you even think, because youth is winning right now in the NBA quite a bit. You look at like the Pacers, Halliburton getting to the conference finals as their best player, and all of their young players, Halliburton, Neesmith, Nemhard, Benedict Mathurin, they're all like 25 or younger, when normally you don't make the finals until you're like at least 26. And so, I mean, they're at the conference finals, but they're having a lot of success with all their main guys being young. Knicks are older, okay. But like Timberwolves, their best player is Anthony Edwards, 23? I think he just turned 23. And they're still even like have some young players around him in the rotation, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Naz Reid's still pretty young. And you look at the Thunder, and it's like Shea's still not even fully in his prime years yet. Usually like 27 is when you fully hit your prime. And you look at most of the rotation, Chet Holmgren, you look at Jalen Williams, like all those guys are super young. And so my point is here, because Hassan Wallace is like 20 and played big important minutes for them.
Hold on, let me.
So last night he used him. Honestly, nothing better than when a guy.
My point is,
Like I said, he is making some points. It's like seems like it's more of a youth movement. I guess some people probably didn't like recognize this until now. So it takes for young pieces that excuse me, because it's take like using the youth, you can get somewhere. And Of course, Doc Rivers is like at fault of that too because he don't play enough of his youth. He tried to play, veterans, and it's not going to always work. But I see like the pattern with Doc is like he probably would have like with the young players, with when he was coaching the 76ers and also this team, because at the point he didn't have no choice but to use young players. So he ended up doing it, and see it's like it ended up working. Well, maybe not. Although I know some people are upset, that Doc used that crazy and working starting lineup until the last second where Gary Trent Jr. messed up. But they resigned Gary Trent Jr. It'll be his redemption year this coming year. Not just that, or like he can get his like redemption back in the playoffs. But yeah, the youth movement is here, so just gotta take notes.
Is athleticism, youth seems to be winning, and so since the Chris Middleton trade, you have to go all in on that strategy. You have to, and so we cannot possibly even consider for a second trades like DeMar DeRozan. It's just idiotic. It's stupid. It's not going to get you anywhere.
Makes sense.
And what you need to do is go young. Even if you could say, you could get a little bit better by doing this. But what's the best case scenario of win now moves? Maybe you go get a DeRozan for Kuzma and a couple picks, and you have I don't even know, Kevin Porter Jr. Or let's say Dame coming back at the end of the year off a torn Achilles, and then DeRozan, and then Gary, you bring him back at the 3, Giannis, there's just not going to be any version of this team that's jumping off the page regardless. It's not like you're throwing away some phenomenal situation by doing this. And by doing what I want the Bucks to do, you are able to see, all right, do we have some young guys here that are going to be built for the future with Giannis? You're able to put them into bigger roles and to be able to ready to be stepping into championship type basketball after a year of a lot of minutes. Or you're also going to have other guys that are going to turn into assets that you can then actually flip to get good players, not players that other teams are trying to wanting to get.
I get what he's saying. I'm not saying yes to it, and I'm not saying no to it. It does have a point, but if your team is that good, maybe great than the players you may try to go after, then there's no point to go after, other players, and you got your, best talent right there. So this one, I understand, and I'm not, upset about it, or I'm not, happy about it because yeah, I agree with him. But it does, it does make sense. But I think I'm just thinking of the double-edged sword here that you may end up having the players. Of course, you can trade the players that has value. That's why you see he's probably going to mention it in a bit that he changed his mind and trading away Kyle Kuzma and just wait for his value to get up. So the thing is what if he came up better than he was last year? Then you was no, I don't want to trade him now. So just watch his videos at the end of the year. He might end up changing his mind if Kuzma has a big step up. And maybe some of these other players like Tyler Smith and Ryan Rollins may have a step up. Even Ajax. Then you be maybe we should not trade anybody, but maybe get something extra, maybe. So I'm 50-50 on it.
Wanting to get rid of DeMar DeRozan or throwing away everything for Cam Johnson, which isn't going to get you over the top. And so I think that what you have to do is just try to bring back all the young players. Go get Kevin Porter Jr., bring him back, even if you're not a believer in him as a championship player. Okay, but you saw what he was doing for the Bucks last year in the regular season. Even the playoffs, he put up decent numbers to where, if he starts for the Bucks with Giannis, you're not going to be a terrible team. You're at least going to be a play-in team. And so other teams will say, well, he's a guy that puts up some numbers on a pretty good team.
No, I wouldn't say they'll be a play-in team. They may end up being a little bit better than what you think. So, like I said, I understand that too. But just at the same time, because I know people want to be honest, but you can't just like, yeah, the team's gonna probably mostly end up in a play-in, but it's just for now. And plus, I would say something about that after summer league when they either get they get their 47 pick, plus returning of Jericho Sims. No, I don't, no Tyler Smith. I mean, playing in summer league. And we would have said, AJ Johnson, we be playing in the summer league, but he's with the Wizards. So that's not going to happen. So you're probably going to end up just watching them, Tyler Smith and maybe, oh yeah, Ryan Rollins too, if they resign him. Yeah, I forgot about him too. So either Tyler Smith, Ryan Rollins, or whoever would be their 47 pick. So, and plus, I don't know. They'll do Chris Livingston in his third season because normally they'll do with like rookies and second year players play like in the summer league. But then again, strange things happened before. We were supposed to have Jabari Parker playing in the summer league last year, but I think it was like a family issue that he just had to deal with that he couldn't play that season. So strange things happen and. You never know. Even we had Taco Fall as our center for the summer league. So strange things can happen, and it's like a wait and see. So.
And even if, like again, we don't see ourselves as a championship team, or him as a championship player, he could then be moved future later on. AJ Green is just a guy I period want to keep for the future. Point blank. Period. I want him on the team 5 years from now easily. Kyle Kuzma, you keep him in the starting five, or at least the top six of the rotation, because you want to be able to trade him. You want to build his value back up. Maybe he has a great offseason, and he'll be more tradable next offseason after having a better year this year. Boom. You play him big minutes, and you try and build his value back up. Giannis,
Very true. But, like, if he, surprise everybody, it's going to change some people's minds. So, like I said, maybe like this coming February of 2026 around the trade deadline, and even maybe before that, by the end of this year, he may change his mind about Kyle Kuzma if he ends up end up working out in the off season and stuff like that. So just check on him at the end of the year. That's all I'm saying.
Obviously this is centered around him being back. Jericho Sims, same thing. A guy that maybe could build his value up, and another guy that, or even if not, he could be like your backup center. He could be a 20 to 30 minute a game center for the next 10 years. But if you could turn him into some big.
Through these forests, over these waters, this land calls to us, and we answer with the guidance from those.
Bigger, you could throw him into a deal for a real big time player. Perfect, because I think Jericho Sims is very solid, but I think Jericho Sims more or less they're out there. There's more versions of Jericho Sims out there, so you play him to either have him built as a guy that will be ready to go for the future, or a guy that you can use in a package to go and get a real player in the future, but you bring him back. Tyler Smith, you start to give him big minutes, same type of idea. Ryan Rollins, same idea. He's going to be a restricted free agent this offseason. Bring him back for as many years as possible, have him under contract to either build him as a guy that's going to be a part of it or a guy you trade. Same thing with Andre Jackson. Maybe you can trade him at the deadline before he becomes a restricted free agent this offseason by playing him big 20 minutes a game for the first half of the year. And then in the offseason this year, the only move other than bringing back young guys I want the Bucks to make really is go get a young guy that has just kind of been buried, Like, the first one is Quentin Jackson, and I think if you want to get diamonds in the rough, a lot of times what you want to do is just go get a guy on a team that just has no room to play more guys. Quentin Jackson was a guy that's young for the Pacers, and he was getting minutes earlier in the season. He was doing some things. He had some really good games, some good moments. He has some good slashing abilities, and there just might be some value in there. And I think that if he's a guy that a good organization wanted to have, he's a restricted free agent this offseason. That's a guy that's worth taking a shot on. Another one is Mac McClung. He's just a guy that he's been an affiliate for like good teams like the Magic, and he's been dominating in the G League. Maybe you can take a shot on him.
Yeah.
Or Wendell Moore, I like a little bit probably better than Mac McClung. He was a guy that was drafted in the first round. I believe he was to the Timberwolves. He's been on the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. Just teams that, again, are just win now mode. He never got a chance to just, like, get minutes and get his feet wet. He's been pretty much always been on teams that are trying to win right now. And there might be some untapped talent there. He's got kind of like coming out of college. Other thoughts is like just look for guys that are young but on teams that are just deep. Like the Rockets have Jonathan Williams. I played with him in high school in an AAU tournament. He's athletic. He's long. He plays defense. He might be a guy that you could just go get for nothing that maybe could turn into an asset or something. And then the last thing, just play the 47th pick some minutes. And just the idea needs to be with Giannis, we're always going to be competitive. And the moves that we can make this offseason, like trading our first-round pick for Cam Johnson or trading for DeMar DeRozan, like maybe they win you a few more games, but it's definitely not going to be a championship difference with the way the roster is currently set up. So the plan has to be go try and get a guy that's out there that's unheralded and young, and then basically just bring back all your young guys and try to turn them into assets or turn them into guys that are going to be ready to go 2 years from now when you're actually going to be able to have money to spend and have more flexibility to try and build it back into a championship team. And then lastly, I know with the top 10, there's going to be people saying, but oh, Gary, if you could bring him back while also bringing back everybody else, cool. But I'd rather prioritize bringing back young guys like Jericho Sims, like Kevin Porter Jr., like Ryan Rollins, than a guy that's, really good right now.
Jericho Sims, the Bucks have bird rights on him, so they can sign him to whatever deal they want. They can even, maximize more than what they should, because they explained like bird rights like the last decade, and it just seems like some people forget about that. But like I said, I agree with what he's saying, but I guess the only problem is like, well, the players end up being better than what you think. That's the only thing I'm saying. But and I think one of the main things is like they're gonna bring back Gary Trent Jr. They just got hoping Kevin Porter Jr. just end up taking his player option. So that would save a lot for everybody. And of course Ryan Rollins, of course, restricted free agent, and they probably would give him, like, I wouldn't say like the minimum, but I would say maybe a little bit over the minimum, maybe like 3 million, 3 or 4 million or something like that. Maybe they can do that. But like I said, Matt McClung I heard of, and Wendell Moore from Timberwolves, I forgot who he was, and Quentin Jackson. It all depends. So who knows? Smart. I say you want to throw the finger at me, I'll kick your head in. Yeah, it's like the closing moments of Collision. Sorry about that. But like I said, majority of what he's saying, I agree with, except for try to trade so and so for like better value, and I don't know. You never know. Some of these pieces may surprise you. So yeah, I'm just gonna say it on that. So I'm gonna let him finish, then we're gonna like close it from there.
But I mean, I don't know, for the future, I would kind of want to have guys that are going to be assets. I want to bring back Gary Trent. Don't get me wrong, I definitely do. But I definitely want to prioritize bringing back young guys. So ideally, we do bring back Gary Trent as well. But I really want to focus on bringing back the young guys. And then Kuminga, if we could get him in a sign and trade with like Brook Lopez and not really give up, and maybe a second round pick, but not really give up real assets, absolutely bring.
Maybe if he agrees to go to like Golden State, maybe with Brook Lopez be like, yeah, okay, we'll do a sign and trade. But how's that gonna work? And Brook Lopez is gonna need more money. So, my opinion, I don't think it's gonna happen. Just from the looks of it, it's not gonna happen. So, Brook Lopez, he's just gonna walk away like a free agent. So, I don't think they're gonna do any sign and trade. Because not only that Golden State is interested in him, but you got the Lakers that interested in him. As for Houston, I do not know. Or he can make his return going to Brooklyn, play with the Nets for the rest of his career. So he probably won't be, the starting center, but they probably have him like as a backup. So maybe something like that. But Kaminga for Lopez for like then try to throw the second round 2031 pick. Or if the Warriors like throw you picks, so it ain't always got to be about Bucks giving away picks to have a better player. It just don't make any sense, and like y'all just taking the fun out of okay, these players should not be these players traded for like this player in the draft pick. So it's like you got to see if one of those players are worth it. Like for Brook Lopez, like trading the draft pick, that too with for Kaminga. No, Kaminga is a restricted free agent. So even if that's the case, how's like the because what if another team actually sign him like a contract be like I forgot what they call those contracts. I can't even remember. But yeah, the team would have to have like 10 days to try to match that contract. Oh, offer sheet. That's what it is. Offer sheet. So what they sign some a team signs Kaminga to a offer sheet, then the Warriors is like, oh no, I'm not gonna sign it. So it just you really gotta like look at that. Like I said, Kaminga, I don't know how's it going to work if you're going to end up having like a backup power forward. But then again, he doesn't have Bobby Portis on this list. So, and plus he didn't mention anything, about Portis. So I'm thinking he's saying, okay, let Bobby go or let Pat Connaughton go. Cause you think it like some players are going to like leave and want more money, but if you want a championship here and that's all you're going to focus on, like trying to win like a second one, you're going to want to stay with the team you wanted at. And plus, the team that shows like, loyalty to you. So I got a feeling, that Bobby Portis is going to pick up his player option. Let's see, Kevin Porter Jr., I believe he's going to pick up his player option, and it's already given that Pat Connaughton is going to pick up his player option. So, like I said, y'all can say what y'all think, and yeah, most likely, yeah, he's going to pick up that player option. So, and I already said on the video, the news earlier, that they are going to attend, build around Giannis. So, a lot of time left. So, let me just finish this and go on from there.
Bring him in and throw him in there. Those are two guys I'd like to bring back, but not if it means, like I'm not bringing Gary Trent back if it means we can't bring back Ryan Rollins. That's just my personal opinion. I think that next year, you just make it the maybe Giannis MVP year, and you just say maybe we can surprise people with our defense, with all of our youth and athleticism, and maybe a guy like Tyler Smith is way better than anybody thinks, and maybe Kevin Porter Jr. is going to do more than people think, and maybe that this team could actually be a lot better than people imagine. And so, yeah, that would be my plan, and it could be a competitive, fun year, and then maybe 2 years from now, a guy like, I don't even know, maybe a guy like a Kevin Porter Jr. would be a guy that you can use in a package with Kyle Kuzma to go and actually get a really good player that might be helping.
I could be wrong, but I think Kyle Kuzma only got 2 years left. I thought it was 3, but it actually was 2. Well, last season was like into his contract. The what's it they call it? The third year of his contract. So he still got this season and next season, and after that he'll be off the books. Because I thought it was like he had 3 in the player option, but I think it's just mainly just like those 2 years he got left. Like this year he's getting $22 million. Then the next season after that will be, it goes down to I think $18 million, I believe. But I know now, you get the question, well, they end up resigning Kuzma. So it all depends. So, like I said, I believe they will not bring back Brook Lopez. If they do, there are some fools. And they gotta probably get him a cheap deal if they want to keep him. But if not, let him sign somewhere else where he can get like more money for himself. So I just don't think. I just think that's it for Brook. That is it.
Helping you win a championship 2 years from now. But that's just my plan. That's my ideas. When you don't have any first-round draft picks to use, you don't have all these draft picks, you just got to make the most of the young players you have and turn them into value or develop them to become a part of maybe a next contending team a couple years from now. But let me know what you...
Exactly. That's what you got to do. You can't just think about build them up, then suddenly stop their process and trade them. So I guess after really paying attention to this video the second time, I guess you can see like a little bit of flaws. But like I said, mostly the things I agree with, but I just don't agree with okay, they got a great value or they played the best in their career that season, then suddenly trade them. Trade them for who? Because we don't know if any players are going to be that would be free agents or something like that, or from the draft that they're going to be that good. So it's like the same thing saying with these players, because who knows, they might outshine everybody. So it's it's possible. Like AJ Green, like one of the best 3-point shooters out there, and he was he ended up in the top 5 in 3-point percentage. Maybe he'll be number 2 next year. Well, this coming season, you never know. So everybody probably gonna end up working on their 3-point shot. Maybe Giannis at one point will be like, getting better at his threes and free throws. So some things will surprise you. So I wouldn't like jump to conclusions like getting rid of some of your picks and stuff like that, or some of your players just yet. I understand the Bucks don't have not that much draft capital. I'm not gonna say none, but I'm just gonna say not that much. They still got the 47 pick, as we know. Next year, they got the pick swap with the Pelicans. And possible they may have a second round pick. That's possible. It all depends on like other situations during that season. They traded away their 2027 pick. It'll be a swap between now the Wizards and I think the Pelicans. Then I think the 28 they got a last pick swap for with Pelicans, I believe. I think that's the last pick swap that they got between them. Or no, it's Portland. Okay, so yeah. 2027, yeah. After that they're done with New Orleans. Then 2028 they got a pick swap for Portland. Portland got their pick in 29. But I think Pelicans did end up trading for getting or did the Bucks trade that pick to Brooklyn when they had that Jay Crowder thing? But I don't know. I'll sort it out eventually. But the point is that I wouldn't count like these players out just yet. And plus, who knows? You have the 47 pick and out of nowhere it end up being good. You never know. But like I said, mostly I do agree with this, but I can understand why he's saying, these players, been unproven and they can play more. Which I can understand that, but as you look, you only have maybe about 3 veterans if you bring back Gary Trent Jr. back. So you're gonna need at least 3 or 4 veterans to fill out, the team. Like keep Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton, 50-50. Kevin Porter Jr., like I said, just hope he takes keep his player option. Then then after this coming season, he can see if he has more value. like to re-sign him to another contract. But maybe the 47 pick, like if they end up resigning Kim Porter Jr. and Ryan Rollins, they'll be okay at the point guard spot. But if you want to get like a true point guard, then do that with the 47 pick and find like a center in the free agents, or vice versa. Or they can, like I said, they can dual cast considerations to a team in the second round and get their pick. So that's possible. So well, we will see. The end of next month for the draft. The first round is on Wednesday. Then you got the second round that Thursday, and I think that's the 25th and the 26th, I believe. I could be wrong, but I will correct myself eventually. But yeah, mostly no complaints, because normally when it comes to his videos, you were having a lot of complaints about what he's thinking, but actually most of it makes sense. So I understand. Like, I don't disagree. I do disagree with a few of the things he's talking about, but I understand it. But like the few of the things, trade like the young players for like getting some value and trade them. I don't see that happening. But let me know what y'all think. What y'all think about this situation? So, do you agree with him, or you got like other ideas different than his, or maybe a little bit different than mine? So, just let me know about y'all opinion about that. So, go ahead, comment below, and we'll start talking about it. And I know we got to keep on talking until the end of the NBA finals and the draft, and also because Kevin Porter Jr. and Bobby Portis have until I think the June 28th to decide if they want to stay free agent, and I think Pat Connaughton has till the 27th. So I probably get that wrong, but anyways, you probably can check out the some of the Bucks videos. That I know one of them I was talking about. The days that they had to do. It was on ESPN .com, so you get a chance, check it out. Also, we just don't talk about the Bucks. We talk about wrestling. We talk about comic book movies, TV news, and Milwaukee development. So anyways, check out over 2,700 videos and counting for this channel. One of the longest running YouTube channels, and we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So hopefully we can get there, and hopefully with y'all support we can get there. So trying to do like big things for the channel, and hopefully you guys can help get us there. It doesn't cost you a dime to subscribe. Anyways, check out the website wrestlingfanspeakout.weebly.com, where videos like this, upcoming events, meet and greet appearances by federations in the indie wrestling in the Midwest, photos that you see at wrestling events and Bucks events as well, and more stuff. So once again, thanks for Mike and Robin Thompson for sponsorship, and our sponsor, Midwest Wrestling Collectibles. If you're interested in getting like wrestling DVDs, VHS, or wrestling figures, you will want to go to them to get it, because they do got some nice stuff in there, and it's probably stuff you'd probably be surprised about they have. So check out Midwest Wrestling Collectibles on Facebook. And this month, again, Mental Health Awareness Month. So please, check on your friends, because they might need you when they think they don't. So please check on your friends. And once again, thank you guys for watching. Until the next video, man up, face up. So see you later.